Hello and welcome to Breaking Bread with Rivaj Maharaj, where nothing is off the table. For today's episode, I wanted to talk about the trade deal that's been negotiated between India and the United States of America. So without further ado, let's get into it. India and the United States have reached a consensus on a trade deal, and although the fine print has not been revealed as yet, there are positive signs coming out of both India and the United States.
Okay, and he says that he describes Prime Minister Narendra Modi as a powerful and respected leader of his country. We spoke about many things, including trade and ending the war with Russia. He has agreed to stop buying Russian oil and to buy much more from the US, and potentially he says Venezuela.
Yes.
Right, Abhishek? And
Yes.
then he goes on to say that we agreed, as per his request, effective immediately. We agreed to a trade deal between the United States and India, whereby the United States will charge a reduced reciprocal tariff,
Yes.
bringing it down from 25% to 18%. They will likewise move forward to reduce their tariffs and non-tariffs barriers against the United States to zero.
Yeah.
So we will reduce our tariff and non-tariff barriers against the US to zero. The Prime Minister also committed to buy American at a much higher level, not specified, in addition to over $500 billion of US energy, technology, agricultural, coal, and many other products. Our amazing relationship with India will get even stronger going forward. Prime Minister Modi and I are two people that get things done, something that cannot be said for most. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So the announcement of India-US trade deal.
Now, we know for starters that the 50% tariff that was levied on India has now been reduced to 18%. So that is a drastic decrease in the tariffs that were imposed on India at a time when it looked like Donald Trump was in an anti-India mood and in a fit of frenzy decided to keep upping the ante because India seemed to not wanting to be playing ball with the United States. Let's look at what India's tariff rate is like when it's compared to its peers within its neighborhood. Pakistan is on 19% in terms of their tariff rate. Bangladesh is 20%, Indonesia is 20%, and I think Sri Lanka as well is 20%. So competitors in the US market from within India's neighborhood, India seems to be on a more favorable footing. Now, let's look at the United States' immediate neighbors as well as a prominent South American neighbor. So Brazil is still on the 50% tariff, and Canada is on 35%, while Mexico is on 25%. So India is still in a favorable position there. And then when you look at the European continent, the EU is on 15% and the UK is on 10%. Now, within Asia itself, the Japanese are on 15%. This 18% tariff levied on India is a much welcomed breather because India's immediate competitors within its region supplying products to the United States gives India that edge. Now, even a 1 or 2% difference between India and some of its competitors is a saving to the consumer in the United States, which then gives India that leaning edge over its competitors. Now, Mr. Piyush Goyal, India's Commerce Minister, has stated that this is a huge deal for Indian manufacturing, especially those in the textile industry, gems, jewelry, leather, apparel, plastics. as it gives them a great opportunity to supply the United States market at a preferable rate.
Opening up huge opportunities for our labor intensive sectors, export sectors in textiles, plastics, apparel, home decor, leather and footwear, gems and jewelry, organic chemicals, rubber goods.
He also mentioned that there would be avenues opening up in the defense sector. Now, we know that the Israelis are pivoting towards Germany, India, as well as the United States for arms procurement. For the United States, Donald Trump hails this as a victory for its agricultural sector. However, India has stressed that protectionist clauses are in place to look after its dairy and agricultural sectors. Donald Trump has also mentioned that India has agreed to scale back its purchases of Russian oil. However, there has been no comments regarding this coming from the Indian side as yet. We know that Donald Trump has also mentioned that India has committed to purchase more oil from the United States, and the Venezuelan market has opened, which Venezuela being a vassal of the United States means that India will now probably be buying Venezuelan oil. Earlier today, Mr. S. Jaishankar met with Mr. Scott Bessent to discuss this trade deal. Now, I want to stress the deal hasn't been signed, the fine print hasn't been released, and the nuts and bolts of this deal we're not fully aware of. And once again, since the deal hasn't been signed, it's still all up in the air, because with Donald Trump, and I like to say his predictable unpredictability, anything is possible. However, I want to say, congratulations to the Indian side for holding out against the pressures that were coming out from the United States against India. As if this deal goes through, it seems that they've struck a better deal, or a more favorable deal, as compared to some of their peers within their region who are looked upon in a much more favorable light than the Indian administration at this present moment. I also suspect that the trade deal between India and the EU had something to do with this finalization. So we will wait and see what the outcome of this is, and if indeed everything is finalized, signed and settled, and a deal is then done. So we are monitoring this closely. Once again, thank you very much for spending time with us on this monologue, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Please remember to like, share and subscribe, as it helps our channel grow and it helps us with the algorithm.